Brutality to women. Brutality. The word.
You mean
What was that?
genital mutilation?
Yeah, that's the one.
There wasn't any genital mutilation.
What about the
It
bit
was.
when he opens the door and he sees nether regions and there's like a scar?
Regions. He
Yeah,
sees the
that's bit I was
Netherlands.
referring to. The scar over, yes.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
apparently in
typical.
the book there's like a whole subplot about gender changing, and yeah, that was kind of like a lead into that apparently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they didn't really do anything other than that.
I didn't think we'd mention it that early on.
It's an Emmanuel pick. Why would we not?
Yeah, I think,
The audience expects it.
Genitalia.
Alec, you need to put a new tab in the spreadsheet of tick boxes of Emmanuel's picks.
Nah, I'm all right.
Recurring mutilations.
We've seen Willem Dafoe's weird penis 5 times in.
Oh dear.
What, the one that wasn't even his?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stunt cock.
Anyway. Yeah. Since Emmanuel's not here, I was joking when I said, should we guess why he picked it? But also, I don't have any other ideas. So,
Well, I remember he said that he was going to finish a film and then decide if he wanted to pick that. And at the time, I assumed that was Parasite, but I don't know if this was it, or if he finished Parasite and decided not to pick it and pick this instead.
I think it was definitely this because I remember him speaking about this years ago. So he had already seen this film before.
I guess this wasn't the one that he was finishing then.
But maybe he knew that I was picking Parasite, so he decided not to.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
So Pat, how does it stand up with the remake you were going to pick?
Obviously, this is probably a better film. But but like in terms of remakes, it's probably one of the better ones I've seen.
I've heard a lot of bad stuff about it.
Who have you been talking to? Anyone that I've talked to about it has been glowing about it.
Well, what I always hear, I mean, I haven't seen it, but what I always hear is that they kind of like mix the purpose up a little bit. So like where this is basically like a film about childhood, but the characters are vampires. Apparently that one is like very much just a vampire film and they happen to be children.
I think they didn't want to make it sort of too like for like or scene for scene, which I don't mind. Like I think if you do a remake that's basically the same as what's come before it, it can be quite boring.
But if it well, I mean, like I said, I haven't seen it. But if it's just ended up as like another vampire film, then like it seems like even as somebody who didn't really like this that much, like it seems like a bit of a disservice to it to do it that way. I haven't seen it though, so I mean, I could be completely wrong on that.
I saw it like years and years ago, but like I can't remember a fucking thing about it. Not one thing.
It's been so long as well for me. It's like I remember it clearly. I remember this story so clearly, and the other one was similar. But what obviously Pat was saying, it isn't a shot remake, but it has a lot of the core ideas and core images, the same sort of like striking imagery in the snow and all that. That sort of thing blurs together a bit. I saw it when I was so young. I didn't quite get like the themes or the intentions of it compared to what we would now. So it's hard to say if it was better or equal to it or as
no. So I just remembered Pat was gonna pick the remake. So
well, if you're stuck for a pick, Pat, this seems to be generating conversation already.
Yeah.
It's the most we talked about a film we haven't seen.
Yeah.
Unless we are Humphrey or John. Oh, well, if he's not going to respond, fucking hell.
What?
I'm not responding.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I realised I had a bit of a kind of a dissonant feeling with this. I I don't know. I've had this film in my life for like quite a while. Like I think I first watched it as like I don't know, before I was like 18 or something. But like it just kind of pops up every now and then. Like we will sometimes like kind of watch it like every now and then. I've seen it in theatre because my coworker was playing I'm gonna just call her Ellie because I don't want to fucking butcher the whatever language this is.
Whatever language.
Is it Swedish?
Yeah, Swedish. Yeah.
I don't want to go Norwegian, but yeah. So like it just sort of crops up every now and then. It wasn't until the second watch through that I did like I don't know 2 days ago where I was like, hold on. This is a much different film to what I thought it's been this whole fucking time. Because I thought I spent like about 10 years thinking, oh, this is like a kind of a bit of a nasty sort of story, but like about like these two kids kind of finding solace in each other, and obviously one's a vampire, and they kind of is I don't know. I think I thought it was a lot more kind of traditional than what I expected, like just like a little nice story of nasty elements, and they kind of like find each other through that, and they help each other, and it's all very nice. But yeah, on the second watch, I was like, oh, hold on, there's kind of a more insidious element to this than I think I first realized. So I don't know if anyone knows what I'm alluding to.
Insidious wasn't in this.
No.
What are you talking about?
Well, I kind of want to see if people know what I'm talking about, because what was your read of it? Because this is the first time you've seen it.
Yeah. So, I mean, my read of it was just that it's about kind of sort of childhood anger, I suppose, and kind of like them two dealing with that, but obviously one of them's a vampire. Like, I mean, nothing's popping to mind from what you said.
Okay.
I'd say that the bit I was like, I could say was a small critique I had with the story in this time, was a relationship with her father, which I thought was really fascinating. But I feel that his death happened a bit too soon in the film than I would have preferred. Even though, despite the fact that she has to be like more independent and more like, this is her path now. She has no one else to look out for her. But I thought her relationship with her dad was really quite fascinating because of how much he was willing to suffer and how much he was willing to do for her to keep her alive. And he kind of like literally kills himself or attempts to kill himself just before the halfway point of the story. So I did feel like his reasoning for that was warranted. I can see why he would do those things, and him being caught, like almost caught twice in a row, but he still wasn't caught. He wasn't like someone that was literally, the police were on his doorstep. He hadn't got to that far yet, but he still was like, no, I'm not going to take this risk, which was interesting. But I'd have thought he would have a third catalyst would have been a better reason for him to like literally pour acid over his face, pretty bluntly. But it was a nice ending he had where he was like, look, just take me and just kill me now. Use my blood as sustenance for you. And she finally was on her own at that point. But yeah, there was some like sort of like bullet point ideas of what I thought was what I did like and that subsequently didn't with that part of the story.
So I'm glad you bring him up, because this is emblematic of like my new reading of it, which is, are we sure he's her dad? Because
he might be just a guardian.
Well, I think that they might have met under similar circumstances to how she met Oscar.
Oh,
that's giving me chills a bit.
I was talking to Coral and she mentioned that, and I was like, I didn't see that. But
Because it's the kind of, I think you could read it either way, but I think like the level of devotion he's willing to show her could be a parental one, but it could also be like one that used to be like romantic. And obviously she's going to stay static, but he's growing older. And it's, he doesn't have a lot of, much like Oscar, he doesn't have a lot of like kind of social like standing. I could see if you added like 40, 50 years to him, this is probably what Oscar's going to end up like, especially if his only friend is Ellie.
And she never said her age. She just said, I'm 12, but she never said, I've been 12 for how long?
And I think that's possibly on purpose.
Yeah.
But, because I was having this conversation with Eb, but I was sort of like, when I started thinking about it, I was kind of like noticing little things, and I was like, this is some textbook manipulation going on. Because it's sort of stuff like he's talking about how he's going to do stuff. He's going to do like a summer job for like money and that. And she's like, I can give you money. And it's stuff where like he kind of starts being dependent on her. And like he's talking about like his bullies. And she's like, well, hit back really, really hard. And it's like, oh, okay, well, if you just kind of take that as like an innocent thing, as if you're talking to a child, then yeah, that seems like completely fine. Like, stand up for yourself, like have a bit of self-respect. Whereas if you think of it in terms of she is a vampire of an ambiguous age, you don't know how long she's been alive for, encouraging him to be violent, be as violent as possible, that's a really, really good way of making him ostracized from like his like school, from like other school kids, his teachers, his parent.
Yeah.
Like it all seemed to just be like kind of geared toward him being dependent on her so she could be dependent on him.
That definitely puts it in a new viewpoint. Like, I'm glad you mentioned it, because it definitely makes it like, if he was her dad, it was like, that's why I would have an issue with it. But the fact that he would have been like Oscar's age makes me like, okay, I can see why they got rid of him earlier on in the story, because it's the end of his arc, and then it's Oscar's turn to take the mantle of that surrogate partner, which is really fascinating. Vicious circle.
Because I think you've read it as they're quite new at this, because like I think there's something there to cite, because like he's obviously not the best at like killing people and getting away easily. Yeah. So he could be very new at it, and she could be quite young. And it's like, I can see that, but I just wondered like why we spent so much time with him. Like, he's in pretty much the entire like first half of the film, and it's like, and he's like pretty significant. He doesn't say like much, but yeah, I was just kind of like, he's in this for an awful long time. Like, what's the significance of this? And it's like right at the end when like I don't know, Oscar's saved her from I'm just gonna fucking butcher this. Lack, the old drunk guy. He saved him. He saved her from him and everything, and they have like a kiss and that. But like her eyes are open.
Yeah.
The entire thing, and I was like, oh, that's a really weird little. I was like, why did they make that choice to have her eyes open? And it's like, I think something possibly a little dodgy is kind of under the surface of this. And I think her being a kid is kind of what can like makes it ambiguous about it.
Yeah, very creepy in that regard.
Sorry, it's just weird that I've spent like 10 years with this as part of my life, and it's only until like 2 days ago I was like, oh fuck, that's always been there. Shit.
That's really interesting, man. Like that, like just sort of thinking back to it with that kind of context in mind is kind of, it's giving me chills a little bit. So it's that's really interesting. I think
I'd like to see the remake now, just see if they touch on that anymore.
I doubt it.
But it'd be interesting to see if they do, or they just sideline it.
Be very, yeah. I find these remakes are like, oh, we've got a great film concept here. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna do the superficial version. There's no real.
I think we missed out on this not being a homework event.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
Damn it, Pat.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of didn't want to bring it up because I was just like, has everyone just fucking got this? And like, I've been watching it. I've got like the biggest history with this one, and I've never fucking picked up on it.
Yeah, we clearly didn't get it until you said. So it's actually quite a really good
it's just one of them
subtext.
things where it's quite a subtle thing, and like as I watched it, and I didn't really realize until Cole said to me, "Oh, you know, like she's just using him like to do where I'm like, okay, that kind of would make sense." And then when you, as you said, you watch it again, you're like, actually, yeah, there's a lot of things here that lead towards that kind of being a thing.
It's just there's a couple of shots where like we start, like I don't know, we just kind of start off and like she's just kind of staring into space and sort of smiling to herself, and like it's never anything that's like explicit, but it was just enough to make me go like, hold on, how old is she, and why didn't we mention how old she was? And I think it's possibly for this like kind of unsettling kind of thing, which I think is probably what separates it from About Time, where they didn't realize they were making a creepy, stalky time travel story. Like this seems very aware. It's because like because you're supposed to kind of take it at face value that they're kids and it's like a childhood thing.
Excuse me.
But yeah, her being a vampire kind of adds this little creepy element.
Yeah, that's really cool. Actually, I think that's because I think one of the things that I was wondering about it, right? So I saw an interview with what's the director's name? Thomas Alfredson.
Something like that. I can't remember.
I saw an interview with him, and it was quite interesting because he was talking about how like Swedish cinema doesn't really have like a tradition of like vampire films, and like the only things that he was aware of in sort of Swedish language before this that involved vampires was kind of like horror comedies, and it was nothing too serious. And it was quite interesting because he was talking about how like this is basically the start of a vampire tradition in Sweden, but then he also said that he didn't care at all for vampires, and then he doesn't like find them all that interesting. So I was kind of like, why did you choose to make a film like this where you could have easily made it about two kids where there wasn't a vampire element? And I think that what you said there gives it the purpose, and I think that's really cool.
I think that's the thing, like, because when we picked it, I was like, yeah, I really like this one. Oh, what have you done?
I cut my finger.
Oh no!
Don't let any vampires in your house.
Start licking the floor.
Oh shit! That hurts. That really hurts. All right, back in a minute.
It's the end of Rob.
I hope it's not the end of Rob. I think it's just a little cut.
The little cock.
Rob just cut himself so he didn't have to talk to you. Woo.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I give zero shits.
But yeah, I think you do have like, I think there are kind of citations you could bring up for them being inexperienced at doing this, but like it is that little scene where she's yelling at him like, you're supposed to help me, but like I think it's really, really interestingly shot where we don't see her, we only see him, and it's sort of like, but that doesn't seem like a parental relationship to me. That seems like one where he's kind of dependent on her. That's how she's getting away with
subservient behavior.
Yeah,
which makes it even weirder.
But I like the subtlety of it, you know.
Yeah, it's one of those clever films that has so many subtle moments. It's not just like violent for the sake of violence. It's not scary for the sake of just being jump scares and all that stuff. It has a lot of depth to the story and like Rob says, it's just two children getting to terms with the world they're in and the people around them and how they react to it, which is really quite an interesting idea on its own.
Sorry, Rob, I was just talking about how she talks to her guardian in that scene where like she's yelling at him after he's like just fucked up the first murder. But like you don't see her, you only kind of see him. And I was like, that doesn't strike me as a parental relationship. That strikes me as a more sort of one-sided kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think I might go and watch it again actually, because I think keeping that in mind is yeah, it already makes it a lot more interesting.
This thing I was like, when Emmanuel picked it, I was like, fuck yeah, I love that, the right one. And then I was sort of like, why do I love it so much? Like it's just kind of it's about like, you know, kids kind of coming to terms with like the world and that. And I was like, why is that such a what makes that so good?
It's a universal theme that we all could relate to, really.
Yeah. And then now this has happened. I'm like, fucking hell, this is such a cool movie. Where, yeah, it's like just because I don't know. I thought it was kind of like this thing where like they were gonna, she was gonna teach him to kind of like stand up for himself and that, and it was like, but no, he doesn't. Like he does like split the kid's ear open, but like the final kind of encounter with the bullies, it's her.
Yeah, she saves him, Jessica.
Yeah, she saves him and kills all his bullies, and they go and ride off. I think also, so this is just another thing, like the way it ends, it's them on the train, and they're kind of traveling, and we started our introduction to her was she was traveling with Hakan, like in the taxi and stuff, and it's like, I don't know, possibly like inconsequential, but I think it's not. I think it's kind of purposeful where you kind of are introduced to them traveling, and we finish with her traveling with someone else. I think that's possibly on purpose.
Yeah, that's really interesting, man. So I think if you, well, I mean, I already thought it was quite a good film before. Like it just sort of wasn't something that I was that into. But yeah, I think even if you kind of like read it on that base level of like, this is kind of almost like a coming of age film. It just happens to have vampires in. Like it works on that level, but then once you put that layer in there, that's really cool. And I quite like that it's something that you can take or leave as well. Like I like that it's not kind of like slapping you around the face and telling you that that's what's going on.
I think that's the nice thing. Like it could have very easily been, I've been manipulating you this whole time.
Exactly. Yeah. Keeps
it very, very subtle. And like, because when I was talking about it to Eb, she was sorry, I'm doing a lot of the talking. She was saying like, I said like, what do you think about this? And she was like, well, I don't know if it's like, because she said kids can be manipulative, but they don't understand the significance of it. And she's sort of like, so I don't know if it's a case of she's a kid and she's just going to be a kid forever and she'll never understand the significance of it. In which case it's like, oh, okay, that makes it a bit less sinister. But we also can't imagine if she's like, because like I've read like little bits of trivia that say like people think she's like 300, and I'm like, you surely can't be a 300-year-old being without comprehending what you're doing.
Yeah.
And if this is like, if Oscar's like the, I don't know, 10th, 20th, 30th person she's done this to, she must be picking up a pattern or something.
Yeah, she has have to have some remorse there.
Yeah.
That's interesting because I was thinking that when I first saw it, it's like, I was surprised that she didn't bite him so he'd become a vampire too, so she could have a partner. In a way that would have been the cliche way of dealing with the ending and making it like every other vampire film in a sense. But it would...
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, but if she did that, then she won't be able to move around because you wouldn't be able to go to different places.
Yeah, you need to have a Renfield. You need to have a guy who can walk around in the day and can rent places to live and get hold of like transport and all that. Like
it'll be more vulnerable.
Because that scene where he like cuts his hand open, and she's like, I don't know, like she's sort of freaking out a little bit. I thought the actress was quite subdued in her performance in that scene, and I was like, why is that? Because I was like, she's been a pretty good little actress this whole time, so it just seemed a bit weird. She kind of, I don't know, didn't seem as frantic as I'd expect her to be, I guess. But with the new reading, ooh, that's a bit different now. And it's like she's already like been manipulating this kid for like so long. Like she's already done like a lot of good work with him. So yeah, she probably doesn't want to just eat him like right now. She's got to start all over again with a different fucking kid.
Oh yeah.
Whereas Oscar's just that right sort of little blend of he's not very confident. He is like a victim. He often kind of walks around by himself. Like doesn't seem, you know, his parents are divorced. He's just, and he's interested in her. Like he just seems that right level of isolated for her to be able to. Yeah. Sorry, I'm gonna stop fucking talking.
Dude, don't worry about it. It's fine. But no, I think like this reading makes her like a really quite a special villain. Because that's just pure evil, man. Kind of like going around jumping from kid to kid on the basis that they're lonely and easily manipulatable, and then just staying with them for that long as well.
Yeah.
Because like how old was the guy? Like probably like 40s, 50s.
Yeah, I'd say older maybe.
So if this is the same situation, then he's been more or less under her control for like a good sort of 3/4 of his life. Ugh, man, this is way more sinister than I read it.
You could have just jumped into this call right now without having any context, and people would think you were talking about Jimmy Savile.
Fucking hell.
There we have it.
Like he's not, I don't know, like he's like completely willing to like fucking mutilate himself when he gets caught because he's like, fuck, I can't get out of this. I'm gonna have to chuck acid on my face so they don't trace me back to her.
Yeah, that was he. You're right. He was the victim. It's like he's the one that had to suffer throughout his life just to keep her alive. I mean, the fact that she probably could have killed him many times, but there was always that kind of like mutual understandings. Like you need each other to stay alive. In a sense, they both needed each other. Important so much, and his only way out was death, and that was the only thing he could think of doing, which was quite depressing.
But the thing is, with vampires and like the law of vampires, they're very like with Dracula, he can mind control people to do what he wants. So it's very subtle in that kind of law, if that makes sense. In the fact of, she's going to put him under a spell. Yeah. So it's cleverly done, but you don't. It's quite ambiguous, which is quite clever. Instead of just throwing it in your face, where it's just like, oh, I'm in love with you. That kind of that bullshit vampire.
I'm not convinced, Dan. I'm not convinced.
I want to suck your blood.
Which goes back to Rob's film. No, Ben's film.
Wait,
sorry.
my film. Oh.
For some reason, I confused you with the Tim Burton film.
That's fair enough. Nice.
Not even the only Tim Burton film that we had this round.
That fucking cocksucker Boris Karloff.
The only thing was when I started watching it, because I didn't know anything about the film, it literally within a couple of minutes I could tell this was going to be a vampire film. I think it's when you see his toolbox and I'm like, wait a minute, and I got it straight away. I don't know if that was the same for other people, but yeah, I saw through it straight away.
You predicted it like a certain John.
Yeah.
That means you win the film and the film loses.
Yay.
I think the bit where I sort of first went, oh, was when she's on that kind of like climbing frame bit and she sort of like almost levitates down.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was
the
cool.
fact that she doesn't wear a coat was the first sign is that she doesn't like emit any heat compared to anyone else, which was really clever detail.
I also love the shot of her climbing up the hospital. I thought that was really, really fucking cool. Like, you don't even fucking pick her up and then you just see like motion and you're like, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah, you just didn't see it. There's another shot where she just runs towards the tree, but you don't see her run up the tree, but you see it go past the tree and then the camera goes up towards it and you can see her hands and limbs and then she's sitting on the top, which is a really clever way of like showing it without putting unnecessary CGI.
I did think the camera, the camera's doing a lot of good work to make it like a lot spookier.
One of the bits that got me, and I think it's one of my favorite, my favorite scenes. I won't say favorite scene, but it was the one that made me laugh. It's the bit when they take him out the fucking water, and he's in that block of ice, and his legs are dangling down, but he's like half submerged in the ice, and I couldn't help but laugh. It just was so. I thought it was hilarious.
To be honest, the only things that I was laughing at were like they weren't the film's fault. It was just that the subtitles were. Like there was loads of bits where people were going bloody hell, and it's like I don't think that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I don't think they're saying. The subtitling wasn't very good because it's like some of the lines came up too soon before the actors actually spoke the line, which is just a bit.
It's the same on the Blu-ray as well.
Yeah.
Another thing that got me was the CGI cats.
Yeah, I was going to say
CGI cats
I was
were
like,
pretty fucking ropey.
Yeah, they're not as bad as like the CGI midgets, but they're still.
I'm glad that Kurt Zuma wasn't in this film.
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole film was like spot on. Like everything was great, but the CGI cats really, really took me out of it. I was like, what?
That's why it lost out on points for impact for me, because I was like, oh man, I get what you're doing, but this scene just looks like shit.
No, it does not date well.
CGI cats, CGI lady falling downstairs.
Yeah, it was that, and like, because I thought the camera work and the sound was really good. I think the sound is quite interesting actually, because like the way that they got the sound for like the like sort of like skin being bitten into was they bit a sausage, and I thought that was quite a cool way to do it.
But hat for the ADR on that.
I think there's another one that was quite interesting as well.
This bacon's lovely.
Oh, that was it. So for the sound of like them blinking, they apparently rubbed grapes together, which I thought was pretty cool as well.
Oh, is that euphemism?
But no, I thought the camera work and the sound was really good, but the CGI, although it was quite like it was used sparingly, it did look pretty bad. But then I also took a point off of production as well, just because I didn't like the cinematography. Like everything just looked a bit washed out to me.
It's in Sweden.
I think. Well, this is the thing. The two Swedish films that we've had, I've had the same problem with. So I don't know if it's just a Swedish thing.
It is interesting because it's like it's very like you can see why Emmanuel likes it because it's so dull and like dark and depressing. It's just him or her. But interesting enough, the guy that did this, he's the cinematographer. He was the guy that works with Christopher Nolan.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but later half of his film, so he did Dunkirk and Interstellar and Tenet.
No,
it's all coming together.
But yeah, no, I just it's like that scene where they're in the woods and the dog turns up. Like it was all kind of like shot very nicely and like it was all framed very nicely, but I just kept looking at it thinking like this. Yeah, there's just a lot of like white and grey, and yeah, I don't.
They're in Sweden.
But I was also thinking as well, like if you've got all of that white and grey, then it would have been nice to like accent it with a bit more blood. But
yeah, there was a lot of blood, but not enough to like not Tarantino level blood, or anything like that.
Or just like in certain scenes, it would have made quite a striking visual. But yeah, they never really did it.
Yeah.
Fine.
Some class all that, no blood. That what fucking travesty.
So I was just thinking of more things that she does. No, it's right. I've lost him again.
But I did love the end where he's in the water and you don't actually see him getting attacked per se. You just see in his perspective. So you see the bloke get dragged in the water, but his feet is the only bit you see. And I was like, that's really fucking cool. And the bloke's head falls in, and then the arms that are holding his head down, it kind of just floats past. Oh, it's just so great.
That's a great shot. That was the other thing. When she comes in and she's been invited. That's another little that's like a really, really cool little sequence. But again, like you kind of get the what's like kind of the outcome of it. Oscar's like, "Oh my fucking god, I'm so sorry," and he's like hugging her. He's like, "I'm sorry," and she's all like, I don't know. I don't know about the cinematography being shit. I think it's actually like a really big sort of strength of this one. Like,
I don't think it's like objectively shit. It's just something that I didn't really like. Like it's a subjective minus for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, like I said, I don't know if that's like maybe a Swedish thing, just because I had the exact same problem with the girl with the dragon tattoo as well. And now I'm finding out that this cinematographer works with Christopher Nolan. Yeah, I maybe it's just a cinematographer. I don't know.
See, I thought it was really good at framing stuff, like as Ben said, like when she's climbing up the tree and like it I don't know, it's just like very strategic blocking to stop you seeing too much of her moving, but she is now sitting in the tree, and it's like, oh shit, like that's because like, oh man, that hospital shot where because like I don't know, you watch for her when you know to watch for her, but like you kind of notice there's like this little dark shape on the wall, and you're kind of going like, you don't think anything of it the first time, but then you see it moving, you're like, fuck, where did she fucking come from? And it's like that sort of stuff. It's I don't know. I really fucking like this one.
I'm surprised you didn't pick it, man.
Who, Pat or me?
Nah, Alec.
Oh, Alec. We're all gonna pick it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of those ones where like I kind of I don't know. You know when you kind of seen a film so many times over the years, and you just kind of I don't know. It doesn't like kind of stick in your memory necessarily, but like when you revisit it, you're like, oh fuck yeah, this one's great. Like, yeah, just never thought of it. But
yeah,
no.
I can't remember when I saw it. I think I saw it like when I was 18, 19. So it's been a while. But I did have like like Alec did. There's like this always stuck in my mind of like how unusual and unique it was to tell a vampire story about kids rather than teenagers or anyone older, because it's like if you're bitten by a vampire at that age, it's gonna completely change kind of who you are, because you're stuck in a child's body. Even if you're like say 50 or even 100 years old, it must mess up your like right and wrong and how people perceive you and how you think of yourself compared to everyone else who just ages around you. It's really quite interesting idea. It's just really quite a horrible curse being immortal like that.
But this is why I like the fact they don't like explicitly say how old she is, because that changes the complete dynamic of it. It's like if she's a new vampire, she doesn't understand, and it's like, okay, I guess it is like a nice little coming of age story. But if she's really as fucking old as she could potentially be, it's like, ooh, and it's cool little movie.
So I mean, like, so the title of it comes from a Morrissey song, right?
Does it?
Yeah. So
Right.
So I just had a look at the lyrics for this song just out of interest, and it does kind of tie in with what you were saying about the guy not being her dad. So like the lyrics are, let the right one in, let the old dreams die, let the wrong ones go. They cannot do what you want them to do.
That's quite telling. Yeah.
Mm.
When did the song come out? I assume it came out ages before the film.
I don't know actually.
I'd assume so if it's named after it.
No, I'm just saying if it definitely was rather than a coincidence, but it sounds too close to not be. Yeah.
But apparently it is like genuinely named after it. I can't find what year it came out though. Let me find it. Oh, 1988.
Yeah, fair. That's ages ago. Interesting that the remake is called Just Let Me In. I don't know if that's just like, let's just make it more basic.
I think that's just an Americanization,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
That's just...
You think it's
Let me in.
Just let me in.
Let me in.
this is what makes me think like I don't know. I shouldn't have any confidence in it. Like,
Yeah. Why should we say in 6 words what we can say in 3?
let the right one in. That's silly. It sounds like something Morrissey would write. Fuck it. Let's just do Let Me In. I'm really curious now. I do think I should watch it.
Yeah, I'd quite like to watch it just to kind of I think as well. I mean, it's a little bit like The Fly, really. Well, I mean, I assume I don't know, but like with The Fly, I watched the one that you picked, Ben. And the first time I watched it, I wasn't very into it, and then I watched the original, and I was like, oh, and then kind of seeing the original like that, and then going back to the 80s one, I was like, okay, yeah, this is actually a really good film. So I don't know if maybe it'll have a similar.
It's one of the few that is kind of like it's so different, but the concept of the idea was so damn good that it's like we can make this better. So it's rare that you get a remake that actually improves in that regard. Just takes the core idea and concept, and
it was such an experience watching the original, and I was just kind of going like, oh wow, they did such a fucking great job of remaking this boring, shitty film.
Oh yeah.
Even like the source material, man, it was like a 2-page comic in a Playboy magazine or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just man turns into fly. He dies.
Every scene, it's like, better go catch some flies there, Bobby. And it's like, fucking, how was this an actual pastime?
It's the reveal of the fly head that did it for me.
When he's like, Carrie. Oh my god. That fucking film, it's like 2 hours of just nothing, and then the end is just the best bit.
Yeah,
where they find out he's the fly, or like the fly head, and he just goes, and they squish him, and it's just that's the end.
A lot of Vincent Price films are like that.
Yeah. Well, who knows how good Reanimator could be if they remade it. I'm joking though. It wasn't like a weak original film like that was.
Man, this cut. So sorry to change the subject, but this cut on my thumb is fucking horrible. Like every time I take the tissue off, it just starts bleeding again.
It's like one of those hangnail cuts that just don't stop bleeding.
It is a bit, yeah.
Like, stop it.
I was playing with some nail clippers, and like I accidentally caught myself, and like now it's just like every time I look down, it's like bubbling up.
I'm so fucking jealous. I was trying to do an STD test the other day. And like it was like do the little safety lancet, and then you got to kind of like massage your finger into like this and it's like there's a little vial. It's about like that small, but it's like you got to fill it. I don't seem to have any blood in my fucking hand. I was doing like this, and nothing was happening, and I just suddenly started going like, oh. And I just felt really fucking woozy. I was just like, I've got like not even that much blood out of my hand. And I'm going like, oh, fuck.
Alex, what was you doing again?
I was doing an STD test.
No, I mean, what did you do with your finger?
They give you like a
that's why you got the STD. Because you did.
No, an STD test doesn't give you an STD. They don't go, here you go, and they give you a little plastic thing and you poke it and you go, you've got HIV now.
Yeah, you've got a disease.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah. Where did that come from?
And now everyone knows that Alec has been testing for STDs.
Yeah, it's public.
Which is a good thing to do when you have sex regularly. PSA. Why are you thinking about that?
Well, it's like the anti-vaxxers.
Depends on
They have to
who you
have
do
a
it with.
I'm not the anti-vaxxing at all. What are you talking about?
And then vaccine, what the fuck?
They're just thinking of
STDs are a
diseases.
myth.
They do nothing.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really jealous that you're much more of a fucking bleeder than I am.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like it to stop personally because I don't want to hold this tissue to my thumb all night.
That could be worse. My nose,
My
my nose decided to bleed randomly this evening.
I haven't had a nosebleed for a little while, to be fair, which I'm
I was
quite happy
sitting
about.
there watching the football, and then all of a sudden,
Jeez.
So in fact, I think the last nosebleed I had was when I was watching Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I've never had one.
Oh man, they're,
Wow.
What?
they're not nice.
No, it's just like when they don't stop. It's just like, wait, what do you do?
I think the worst ones, the ones that they literally go from 0 to 100 in
Yeah.
a split second.
They're the ones I get. It just sort of gushes all of a sudden.
When Emmanuel watches this back, he's going to be like, why the fuck did we do? How did we end up on nosebleed?
Too much blood.
He's a vampire film.
Yeah.
No nosebleed, so is it?
Not
There's,
yet.
there's an ear bleed.
Oh.
that was probably my favourite scene.
Oh, when she
Oh, well, she
started
just, like,
bleeding
combusts.
everywhere, that was a
Yeah.
bit strange. It's like, and there was the blood come out of her fucking.
Yeah, that was a really
Like,
uncomfortable one.
what the fuck?
Should we do favourite scenes?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Pat. Right, and say Pat and everyone farts.
Yes. I do like that.
You just mentioned you might have had a favourite scene there, Pat. I don't know if you want to lead us up.
When what's his face hits his bully over the side of the face with the stick. Loved it because it's sort of, you just don't know how long this sort of bullying had been taking place and the amount of tension he had built up, and obviously having his new friend sort of building his sort of ego up to it, and then finally snapping and then going right around the side of the face. It was beautiful.
He was asking for it.
It didn't even look like it was that hard a hit.
No,
They
it was
reckon
just
he
that.
fucking deafened him.
I
Like,
think it was very true to like what actual violence looks like. She going like, what the fuck? That didn't seem like it did anything.
As someone who actually got bullied myself for years, that it sort of hit home with me as well.
Oh, that makes me sad.
You could have been prime material for this girl to enslave you for 40 years.
yeah.
I would have been like, just bite me and make me a vampire.
I'd have liked to have seen that conversation, to be fair.
Bitch, bite me.
Not in the film, just specifically with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Ben.
Yeah, Humphrey mentioned one of my favorites was like obviously the final scene where it's just that shot of Oscar's face under the water in the swimming pool, and you see everything happening all around him. The another scene I really did like was obviously when she meets her father in the hospital, and then she sees how horribly disfigured he has become. But they kind of like exchange no words, but she kind of knows what she has to do. He just comes to the window. He's like, "Oh, is he going to jump?" No, it's not going to be like that. She's going to drink his blood, and then he's going to jump out the window. So it looks like he's killed himself, which was a really tragic and horrible way of just like saying that your chapter is over. I need to move on, and because there's no way he was going to come up with that good. The fact that he tried to kill himself, in a sense, that is like, what? Although it could be argued, did he actually want to kill himself there? Because he could have done it in a better way of just pouring it over his face, you could say.
I think he's just trying to disfigure himself so the police don't trace
Right. Yeah.
him
So
back to her.
it wasn't as definitive as that then. It will make more sense.
Nah, but point stands, like, he's still not getting out of it. So, like, the only use he can be to her at that point is as, like, food. So
Yeah. He served his purpose.
pretty fucking grim.
Yeah, because if he does go back to her, she's probably going to kill him anyway because he's fucked up basically. So yeah.
Oh, he's under police like custody in there, so they're not going to let him go.
Because they say he's the murderer and he's been linked with both death or attempted and the death. So there's no way that he's ever going to get out of it. So his only option is to die. Sorry, I'm muting myself so you don't hear me crunch.
That's what she said.
I thought it was like a really expressive Jaffa cake. Okay, well, while he's munching, Rob.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll talk about this next week when Emmanuel's here anyway. So I'll confirm or deny then. But I think something that's really sticking in my mind since you brought up like your reading of it, is the Rubik's Cube scene. Because I think it kind of seems like a bit of a low level thing if you think of it as just like two kids bonding. But when you start thinking of it as like one of them's like 300 odd years old and has like this track record of like manipulating lonely kids to spend 3/4 of their lives with her, it's really sticking in my mind as like quite a creepy scene now. So when I watch it again, I'm gonna look out for that a little bit more. But I think that's something that's really sticking out for me at the minute.
No, fair. I really like that. As soon as I said it, I was like, "Oh, he's gonna watch it again." Right, Humphrey, you still munching?
Mhm.
Cool.
You want to know my scene?
Bruce, you're munching Humphrey.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, go on. I didn't like how erotic that was.
What crisps are they?
John, do you see?
Oh, he's dipping into the company till.
Humphrey, do you want to do your fucking scene?
You said no.
I was obviously joking.
So I already mentioned it. It's got to be the when they discover the body in the ice. It just made me laugh so much.
Oh man, this is how I felt when Pat was talking about how funny The Exorcist was.
I just don't know
Exorcist was
why.
hilarious.
Fuck you, Pat.
I love the film, but it was hilarious.
Get out. You're not invited to the Zack Snyderless film club.
I don't think it was
Good.
intentionally funny. I think it was just the way that his kind of arms are like hanging down. I don't know. I thought it was funny. But leading up to that was great as well. The fact of they go there and he gets the stick, and you know that's where the bloke could put the body in. You know,
that's the first sign.
It's like that great build up, and then you have like then the kids turn up and they're gonna say to him like, "You're gonna jump in the water, or else." And then the little girls are then like need to go to the toilet, and he's like, "I'll just go over there." And then it just slowly builds up, and then it ends with him hitting the kid with a stick, and then they to like deflect the situation. Then the little girls kind of point it out to the teacher, and then and then you see the hilarious person being lifted out of the water.
Hilarious person.
Hilarious person.
But yeah,
God's sake.
yeah, that's my favourite. I was watching, I was like, yeah, this is my favourite scene. Definitely stuck in my mind as one of them things where I was like, this is unintentionally hilarious in my warped mind. Yeah. So, Alec, what's your favourite scene?
What'd you do if I just picked up some crisps right now?
No.
I don't know. I've got a couple of honourable mentions really, because I really like that whole sequence with the lady who gets bitten by Ellie, and she's like, yeah, becoming a vampire herself, and that everything up to the cat scene, I think is really really good. Like all sort of little stuff, and especially when it culminates in her like exploding. Like, I think the fire effect's really really good. I like the some of the stuff with his dad, like when he's taking him around when he's on like the little snowmobile and just like actually happy for once, and it's like, like that's nice. Like, yeah, she gets a bit of time with it. But yeah, I think they are just, I don't know. It's hard for me to isolate a scene because I think they're like really, they got a good kind of chemistry with each other and stuff, and like I like that it seems like sweet kind of throughout.
Mm.
And yeah,
And this is a bit of a Robin Williams thing now, though, isn't it? Because it does seem sweet, and it might very well not be.
but it's nice to come in when there's like it's intentionally doing that, not, oh fuck, I've accidentally made this creepy stalker story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a romantic thing, and a lot of people also think it's a romantic thing. But it's like
it's like Leon, isn't it? It's like Leon's like it's quite like wholesome and nice on the surface, but when you look into it for other reasons, it's like actually this is quite sinister. So,
I don't know if that's exactly the same, but
you know what I mean. It's got the sinister undertones. Yeah.
Well, the sinister undertones when you think about the real life context. Because About Time is kind of my biggest comparison for this.
Yeah, it is wholesome, but when you dig deep, it's actually quite.
Oh,
hey!
Whoa.
Hey!
Holy shit!
Emmanuel, why are you not celebrating as much as we are?
I'm tired.
He looks fucked.
I just woke up. Thank you, guys.
We've made you a 1 hour and 23-minute recording for you to look back on.
Thank you. Since I'm here, I might as well.
Emmanuel, why'd you pick this wonderful film?
One, I never saw it before, and it was on my list of films to see. Also, why I ended up getting this book. I got this book years and years ago. I think I got this book in uni. This is how long this is. I've been meaning to watch this film. But
so basically, since it came out.
Yeah. The original Swedish one. So yeah, I was meaning to watch this film, and I was just like, I really do like because the only part of the film I ever watched was the part where the main kid, he's outside right near the beginning, and he's saying, well, what are you gonna do at the tree or pole or whatnot? And that's all I've seen. So I don't know why I only saw that point, which is a few minutes into the film, but nothing else. But whatever. And I was just like, I really want to watch this film. Been meaning to, so I picked it, and it was between that and two other films, which I didn't end up picking for different reasons. It was between that What Dreams May Come, which after watching it, I was just like, nah. I was I was I was ripping the film. Has anyone here seen that film?
No, I've not. No.
Don't.
Oh, have you seen it?
No, I'm just saying.
I was just saying, oh, man. But nah, it is. I appreciate the actors in it. It's got a decent cast. It's got three big actors or biggish actors. So Robin Williams, Cuba Gooding Jr., and someone else. I forgot his name. But the only ones it's weird. It's basically it has good ideas. It tries to do too much. The acting in some parts is just kind of hollow. The script writing is just it's just like it doesn't do it well.
It's in English language as well.
No.
Well, the dude is just like, I might pick this one actually. And then it's just like they start speaking English, and he's like, nah, fuck it.
But, there's a lot about that film that has problems. But anyway, and then the other film, I was gonna pick the original Brother, which is Brothers, which was remade with Jake Gyllenhaal and some other stuff. So it's a yeah. Have you seen the remake? Or
I think I've seen the remake. Yeah, I've not seen the originals.
What's it called again?
So Brothers, but in Danish, so it's Brother.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but even though it's good, don't get me wrong. I remember when I first saw it way back when it first came out, that it made me feel. I was just like, man, this is a good film. Kind of sad, but it's really good at the end. But when I watched it now, it feels like one of those TV movies, like not BBC these days, but like back in the day, the TV channel just put together some movie for you to watch to kind of pass the time, and that was it. And it felt like that, and I was like,
yeah, cheap by the numbers kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like it's got a good story, but it's not made well. Like it's not produced well. It just looks like I'm watching like daytime Danish TV. But, and then I was just like, well, I will settle on this. I think this should be a good film. I haven't seen it, but I think it's going to be good. But yeah.
Were you happy with this one?
Oh yeah, that's why I rated it the way I did. I was really happy with the story. I mean, I didn't realize it was actually meant to be a boy until after the film. But until I read up, it doesn't help that to me, like the main actress, she looks too much like a girl and not androgynous enough to make me think that she's actually meant to be a boy. And
Humphrey's face is a fucking picture now.
And it probably doesn't help that I think there was just lots of little things. I thought the scar was literally just like a scar genital mutilation or something that happened. Not the boy was castrated, then turned into a vampire, so obviously it never grew back. I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Also, of course, you probably went over this. It wasn't her voice, the actress's voice you heard through most of the film. It was someone's voice, because the actual girl's voice was too high and feminine.
Oh, they dubbed her. Okay.
Okay.
That's interesting.
So yeah, most of the time, actually hear her voice. Not that really changed much, but yeah, I didn't really take when she was saying, "Oh, what if I'm not a girl?" I thought she was being more like, "What if I'm not a human girl?" I mean, she was saying that as well, but it's not just, yeah, what if I'm not human? It's also, I'm not a girl. I've said more than one time, but I was just like, but you don't look like a boy. So I was just so confused. But that was me not getting that until I read up on the film. I was just like, oh, so I see. So that's what that kind of shot where you saw a scar down there was, like referencing to it, X, Y, and Z.
I like how both times this is the first thing that.
Mind blown. So we said about there's lots of subtleties in it where it alludes to her being like.
Wait. I want to see if Emmanuel picked up on it.
Oh
yeah, good point.
Yeah.
What do you think the story's about, Emmanuel?
What's
your takeaway? What is the film? What is the story of the film?
Fish and chips.
I'm going to be completely off the mark here, but because both the original writer and the director both didn't like classic vampire films and wanted to do things differently, I thought it was mainly about the boy and like his character development and his kind of the way their relationship starts out, but and then the development of that relationship with everything else going around him. So it wasn't a typical vampire film, but it was a film with like maybe a roughly 300-year-old vampire in it. And he's the boy that ends up taking the place of the other guy he had. Ironically, afterwards. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. But that was my take on it. It's mainly about the boy. But
Yeah,
that's cool.
Mm.
What was it about?
No. We were just saying about how like I've known about I've had this story in my life for like 10 years, and it's only like since a couple of days ago that I was like, oh, there's actually a bit more of an insidious element. It's not just this. I always thought it was kind of like this very like kind of, I don't want to say like completely wholesome, but like it's.
Oh no, it's not dark.
Yeah. But it's like it's her kind of helping him kind of gain confidence, and they like take solace in each other, and they make each other better. Whereas I think it's more a straight up Ellie's like manipulating him, and she's been doing this for like a very long time, and he's just another one in a chain of parental figures who are kind of helping her.
I don't even
know people. And,
it's company.
Hmm.
It's just another guy or another kid who's going to grow up into a guy whose company for the next maybe 50 years until he kicks the bucket or dies in some way.
Or until he fucks up and gets cornered, and then he tries to melt his face with acid, and then he gets caught by the police, and then he just lets her eat him and stuff. Then he looks like he's committed suicide, and he's never mentioned or spoken of again.
Yeah.
There's another
cast aside and replaced very easily.
Because there's another subtle bit where she says about you would murder the kids but for revenge.
Yeah.
It's kind of testing it, that asking him, would you do this? Like how the bloke literally the bloke walks out to the fucking in the snow and kills someone in the bright lights on, and he don't give a shit. There's no remorse. There's nothing. He just goes out there, finds the bloke, gasses him, and then just slits his throat, and he doesn't even blink an eye. So she kind of, she's just testing him when he says, "Oh, would you'd murder them for revenge, wouldn't you?" And that's you don't really see it until you think about that kind of element. You like actually these bits, these little crumbs, all kind of.
Because my take was that she's just manipulating.
Yeah,
she manipulates someone until they grow, until like they, I don't know, they're like deep into adulthood and they're not useful anymore, and then she'll just replace them with another like vulnerable kid.
Yeah,
that's actually a really interesting point I was going to bring up actually, just about the idea of vampires in this film in particular, because obviously she was bitten at a young age of like 12 years old. So she doesn't age anymore. She's apparently a 12-year-old girl for all time. Does her mind kind of like stay in the same way a 12-year-old would, or does her mind mature over the years as well? That's an interesting idea that I thought was quite like, wasn't really sure in terms of like, she kind of knows things, but she's still kind of very gullible and naive in certain other areas. So I thought that was an interesting dynamic that she had as a character.
I think what by the time you're 12, I think the only thing that's kind of different between your brain and an adult brain is experience. So I think she probably does think like an adult at that point.
Yeah, she's not irrational.
All I would say is that obviously there's still brain development between 12 and 16. But how do I say that? A lot of vampire lore or different kind of takes on vampires, some will take the idea that if a child vampire returns at that age and obviously don't change, they never leave that brain/mental state because their brain doesn't develop anymore. They're stuck in that part of their life where even though they'll learn more things and they'll mature, yes, they'll take a very much longer time to mature, but for a very long time, they're kind of stuck in that, like, it's not quite an adult way of kind of looking and doing things in a tendency to like playing and doing certain things more. But it probably doesn't help, obviously, the childlike body. So unless they live, obviously she's probably lived for like 300 or something other years. There's never been confirmation, but it's always been speculated around those years. So I'm sure she still acts that way on purpose, but there's an element to it that it's kind of like someone, you know how some adults can identify with the child in themselves, they say, kind of thing like that. Even with her experience, she might have more of a tendency to be the child inside of her than be the older woman she really is, that you really get to see at 2 points when she really does feel her age, or he really does feel his age. And it's just like, in those moments, he really did feel that age, he really did feel time. But there's other moments where he tended a bit more towards his child side, even though he has a ton of experience. And like you were saying, he knew what he was doing. But at the same time, I wasn't sure. I didn't look into it too much, but I wasn't sure how much was manipulation and how much was, at first, should I start on this, kids? Or should I just like leave it? That was my take. Anyway.
Okay.
Thank you as well. I know it's late, so a lot of y'all need to go back to bed. I don't know.
You do, because you have to get up at 5.
Yeah.
Why have you got to get up so early, man?
The film shoot.
Oh, right.
It's in Harrowwood. So it just takes. It's just over 2 hours to get to.
Ouch.
Yeah. So not nice. It's mainly because TFL Rail has works in the week every weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
I was just gonna say, while you're here, do you want to do your favourite scene? But I thought you were done with what you were talking about, so carry on with that first.
Oh, okay. Oh no, I was just gonna say on Monday when I travel there, it's gonna be much quicker since the TFL Rail will be running. Favorite scene? I don't know. I didn't. Actually, this is one of the scenes I saw way back. So I saw I just remembered this. I saw the scene right at the beginning when he's talking to the polar tree, the tree. And then I also saw, and I don't know why, I saw right at the end, I saw the part in the swimming pool, just the arms and stuff moving through the water when she's like killing them all. And the part where they're on the train. So I guess in a way it was a spoiler for me. But anyway, I think I like the underwater swimming pool scene. And I think there's another moment I like. It's when he asked to go steady. It's just a weird scene. But also I realized there was a deleted scene. Did y'all already talk about that?
No.
Not the deleted scenes. No.
So when she's playing the game on his back, like counting piggy something, number, how many fingers am I counting kind of thing, she does it in a weird way, which is why it doesn't come across as I'm playing this game, is that they played it before, like a little bit before that, but they cut out that scene. So that was her trying to recount how he had played it, and she had never heard of this game before or played it. And she was kind of saying it with different words and doing it slightly wrong. But anyway, I think it was probably those two scenes. There's probably something else as well. I like quite a few things. When he hit the kid on the side of the head.
That's Pet's favorite bit too.
Did you find it amusing when they pulled the guy out of the ice and his legs were all dangly? Did you like that bit?
I didn't find it amusing. I mean, I would got hit inside the face. I knew that was going to happen anyway. It was just a matter of time.
Humphrey found that hilarious.
I mean, it was kind of funny. I think I was still laughing at the kid, the bully getting hit. But it was kind of funny. It's just like, it's just half in, half out. No wonder the kids found him. But yeah, that was funny. But yeah, I think I did like those scenes. Yeah. I think those were my favorites. Yeah, I really did enjoy it. I just like the whole approach. Yes, it had problems and inaccuracies and things not completely explained or a little kind of, and I forgive it for this like tiny production continuity errors. But saying that, when I saw the credits at the end, I was just like, there's not many people who worked on this film.
Yeah, it had short credits. You're right.
What was the production budget of this? Did anyone find out?
Oh fuck! I didn't even do that. But...
No, I don't know.
Oh, Alex.
Oh no, or did I?
It'd be interesting to see what the budget of this is compared to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, seeing as they're like a year apart.
I did do this.
You did do it.
It's $10 million.
Holy shit.
More or less than The Greatest Showman.
Everything's less than actually, yeah, there's still only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
budget
films
was 4
more
million.
expensive. Oh, I was gonna do it.
That's my job, damn it.
A hostile takeover of the budgets page.
Let the Right One In was 4.5 million, and The Girl with the Dragon 2 was 13 million.
Oh,
that's interesting.
It made just over 11 million.
Wow,
that's surprising. Although I suppose Swedish films don't really get much of a box office today.
Yeah, I mean it's not very common that a sort of an independent sort of film makes a lot of money. Like Pulp Fiction is a rare example of a festival film making it massive.
Making it massive.
Jungle is massive.
Man, only 4.5. Yeah, makes sense.
Funny.
And what was it? Yeah, because like continue what Pat was saying. It was, I think, the second only film that Empire, for example, rated as like
Yeah,
the top films.
they gave it 5 stars, didn't they? The best horror film of the year that they thought it was.
Yeah, before that, I can't remember what. Do you know what film it was before that?
As in international film or in general?
International film that they rated like best film.
Good question. I don't know.
Oh, City of God. That's it. It's another film I haven't. No, I have seen that film. I did finally watch it. I just can't remember almost anything about it. Or maybe I only watched half of it. Anyway, City of God was the only film before that they had rated like as like one of the best films of that year.
City of God is a great film, man. I thought about picking that for foreign film round.
Yeah, why not? It's a cool film. Yeah, I can't remember much about it. Besides some of the gang stuff, the chicken.
The chicken.
It's the opening scene or something. Where is he? But it's an interesting film. It's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, I forgive it on some of the production kind of mishaps or continuity stuff, which I didn't catch many myself until after I read up on it. I was like, oh yeah.
To be honest, the only thing I was saying earlier, the only thing about the production that like it's not something I'd call bad, but I just didn't like the cinematography.
Oh, in general.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Like it just sort of everything felt like a little bit dull and just yeah. I think I could have done with something just like pop in a bit more. I don't know, but yeah.
That was something Ben said earlier. Like it makes sense that Emmanuel picked this because it's dull.
in the story way, but in like the visuals. Like,
Don't try and back out now.
If you think that, I should pick one of my favorite visually done films. No, it's like normal visually done films. It's James McAvoy's in it. It's done by.
Who's pissing themselves?
Sorry, what's the film James McAvoy's in that is quite psychological, but also
Split.
No. But also involves
Also involves what?
Stealing a painting.
I don't know. I can't even ask for more info really because I feel like I'd have got it from that.
Wait, so James McAvoy and in what?
James McAvoy steals a painting.
Steals a painting, but there's quite a bit of psychology in it.
Oh, was that Pat? Was that the one we saw about McAvoy?
Which one?
It's these weird independent movie.
Trance.
He has that. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, that's another Danny Boyle film.
Danny Boyle, yeah.
Yes. I knew he was a famous director, but I couldn't remember the name. So I was just like, and I can't remember what else he did. So I was just like, let me just not say that part. But,
he did Sunshine.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did. it was. I think it was much better than Sunshine.
I think a lot of films are much better than Sunshine.
Ooh.
But it has a place in my heart. Oh yeah, that was one thing. Camilla, as a random note, was talking to a scientist, and she was just like, this particular scientist that was their job. She was saying that obviously all the science is crap, but the actors, they feel like actual scientists. All those actors are basically people I've worked with.
Did he account for it might be in a different universe where the laws of physics?
It was just one of those weird things. She's like, it's one of the few films where I felt like I was watching people who were actually scientists and not just acting like scientists. It just sucks that all the science was utter trash. I was like, that's an interesting one. But just remember that.
The sun was real.
Was it our sun? We don't know if it was our son or not.
Yeah.
Nah, it's fine. I enjoyed it. I don't give a shit.
But yeah, you've seen Trance, Ben.
Yeah, I believe so. Is that Rosario Dawson here as well? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, and Vincent Castle.
Yeah, the cinematography of that is. But yeah, it's just on point. I'm just like,
Begin to sound like Humphrey and his whoosh.
Yeah. I was wishing it, yeah.
I think the moment that really does it for me is there's one point in the film where he just starts tilting the camera. It is like outside on the street lights and stuff in the color grading and everything he just does in that scene. I'm just like,
Danny
just-
Boyle's good at that stuff, man. Have you ever seen Shallow Grave?
no.
Oh, I'll pick that one day because that's another film where like, yeah, it just for because he did it quite. It might have even been his first film actually. It was like very early in his career, and it's kind of like there's kind of like an Evil Dead quality to it, where just like they're doing like the absolute most with the bare minimum. And it's really cool.
Has he retired?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well,
Because he
no.
ain't done anything since like the Olympics.
He was gonna do,
Trance has been since the Olympics, I think.
yeah,
Is it?
and he was gonna do No Time to Die,
Yeah.
but then
Oh, yeah, it
off
was the
because
year
of
after the Olympics.
Yeah, he's been trying, and he did yesterday. That film.
Oh, that fucking piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Oh,
It's
man.
an awful film. It's about the Beatles never existing, but they don't explore any consequences of the Beatles never
Oh.
existing.
What?
It's just
Yeah,
pointless.
it's a comedy written by Richard Curtis. So
There you go.
That
think it's
sounds awesome.
It's been too long since we've had a Richard Curtis film.
No, it
And
hasn't.
it's my pick
Hasn't
next.
been long enough.
Mm.
It's not been long enough.
Oh, I see. Yeah, he's made some random stuff. Oh, he made Train Spotting, T2 Train Spotting.
yeah, Judgment Day.
Both
Did-
Train
Steve
Spottings are
Jobs.
excellent films.
Steve Jobs, yeah, like you were saying. He's doing is it a miniseries at the moment?
Can we appreciate Train Spotting 2 Judgment Day?
Film of his that I really like
Judgment
that
Day.
probably doesn't get enough attention is 127 Hours. I know it's got a nonce in it, but you know.
Didn't that win an Oscar?
It did. I think.
Yeah, but in terms of like
Best nonsense
I
show.
don't really refer to whether a film is rated or not based on what the critics or the Academy think of it. It's more what the general people think of it, and I don't hear it spoken about enough.
I'd say that was one of his more popular films. Like that and, well, that 28 Days Later and Train Spotting are probably his most famous films, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. I
And
think
Slumdog Millionaire as well.
I've never seen Slumdog.
About.
I've not
yeah.
seen Slumdog Millionaire either.
Slumdog is really good. I think it is a bit of a rate, but it's still good.
I've seen Slumdog, but
Yeah.
I've not seen 127 Hours or 28 Days Later.
Oh, you've not seen 28 Days Later?
No.
Oh,
Rob.
blimey.
We have to.
What to do?
When's the 28th pick? Have we gone past that yet?
When's the 28? We're nearly 100.
I clearly wasn't reading the stat.
Did you think we'd only done 28 films?
Maybe
Oh,
he
no.
means 28th pick of the year.
No,
Oh.
wait. I mean, 20th pick of my pick. So that's yet to
Oh,
come.
right.
Oh, I
Yeah,
see.
you're
Oh,
about
he
halfway
spoiled
there.
his 28th pick now.
Yeah.
That's all right. He'll
Might
get a
be for
really high
another
score.
3 years or whatever.
Yeah,
Because it's
Slumdog.
number themed, Ben will clean up on that one. Sorry. mate.
Oh no, Slumdog it's all right. It's just a kind of fun film, really.
It's very,
It-
yeah, it's very fun, upbeat, and uplifting. Even though the character goes through a lot of hell.
yeah, it's a strange one, but it's good.
Well, let's just hope it's not as shit as The Beach.
Oh, it's better than the beach. The beach.
I didn't realize he made. I haven't seen it. He made Frankenstein, which has Benedict.
Oh
in it.
yeah, me and Dan saw that version. That was really, really good. One of the best versions that they did
Oh no.
I
on stage.
don't want to cut this short, but Emmanuel, you've seen the time, yeah?
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go. Bed.
Pat, do you want to do your pick, and then we all know what we're doing?
Well, Alex spoiled it today, and I got a bit of the ump, and I wasn't going to pick it.
Oh,
I'm picking
Don't
The
think I'm in on
Birds.
that. Oh, sorry.
oh, the birds. What Alfred Hitchcock, the birds?
Yes.
I haven't seen that yet. It was on my list, I think. Yeah, cool.
Well, it was born out of that conversation we had a couple of weeks ago, where you were talking about Psycho and that Alec hadn't seen many of Hitchcock's films. So I was like, if you don't pick a Hitchcock film in this round, then I will when it comes round to me.
Cool.
And
Nice.
Psycho was too easy, so I went for probably one of my favourite films of his.
Nice.
I like that there's a recurring thing of your films now is just kind of like aggressive wildlife.
Yeah. The birds and Jaws do have a lot in common, to be honest.
Jaws? Yeah, you did. You did.
And Joe Pesci.
Oh, fuck.
Joe Pesci?
In Goodfellas. He was very aggressive.
Yeah,
I was going to say Joe Pesci's not in the birds.
I think a lot of my films are very aggressive.
That pigeon, you fuck.
In fact, this might be the first film that you've picked with no recurring actors.
Oh.
It was a long
that's
time
quite-
ago. It was like 1964.
I will check.
So
Tippi Hedren hadn't been in any film before this, so yeah, I think.
Tippi Hedren is such a made-up name.
Yeah, it's real. It's real.
All names are made up.
Well, that is true.
Cool. Thanks, guys. I'll watch this back as well as last week. I need to make time to do that. But yeah, good night and take care. And if I can, Ben, just let me know.
Yeah.
We'll see you Saturday.
Yeah. Good luck tomorrow, Manuel. Speak to you
Good
later.
luck.
See you in a bit, man.
Have a good night.
Have a good trip.
Send a postcard.
See you next fall.
Not the fall.
Not the fall, no. Fall 2, fall harder.
Anyway, let the right one in. So I was waiting for Rob to just cut the recording there. But...
Oh, sorry, I missed that one. I was reading something.
The shite went in.
So there you have it.